Hi, Karen from Quantum Heart Awakening. Today, we're going to actually do something a little different. I'm going to do sign readings. So this will be for Pisces, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. And let's see where we go today. I want to get one overall card, Spirit. What do we need to know? What does the Piscean energy need to know? What are they flowing with? What are they confronting? What are the blocks that are showing up? What do we need to know for the highest and best good? Whoa. Okay. One moment. All right. We have a bunch of cards. I swear I saw another one. Okay. We have preservation and we also have core. All right. We're just going to leave those here and see how we move through the reading. In the unconscious position, we have perception. Okay, Pisces. Let me just feel into this for a moment. Yeah, so something that you're perceiving is being pushed into the shadows, or something about what you're perceiving is being pushed into the shadows right now. Piscean, my darlings, and I am one of them, we are a very dreamy, watery, flowy, creative, like to sink down into the depths of something kind of energies. We live for that, right? So there's something here that we something is eluding us. Something is being pushed outside of our awareness right now, and this could be unconsciously or consciously. So let's just keep an eye on it and let's just see where we go. Okay, where should we start, Spirit? Where should we start? Okay, what does the Piscean energies need to know? All right, happy ending in reverse. Anything else? That feels like a loaded gun right there. Oof. Okay, I'm just going to watch it before I comment. Let's just flow with the energies. Anything else? Anything else for Pisces? Wow, anything else? You know, it's interesting. The energy feels a little stubborn right now. And I'm just laughing because it's mirroring back to me my own inner stubbornness. Anything else? Anything else for Pisces? Okay, I'll move on. Let's move on to a different deck. Let's see. Let's go here. What would you like to share about this happy ending, or what's blocking this happy ending? What do we need to know about this, Spirit? What's showing up? What's showing up in the collective? We have wishes will be granted. All right, this is very interesting to have these two cards back to back. Happy ending in reverse, which would allude to the fact that wishes would not be granted. And then we have this dandelion card. Dandelions might be a symbol for some of you. If you think of a dandelion, you think of the little puff seeds that, you know, kids love to pick and blow all the seeds everywhere. You know, the energy that's coming up right now, when you think about those seeds, that's how dandelions root, right? Is that either the winds or children or animals kind of pick up these little puffballs and spread their seeds all over. So, my dear Pisceans, you have to know that even if you feel that your happy ending is out of reach, that even if you feel you've been showing up to life and you've been doing the work and stepping into your vulnerability and taking accountability for your darkness, your depths, your own energy, that, sorry, they're pausing me right now because I just got an overwhelming dizzy feeling. Pisces, if you're feeling hopeless right now, hopeless almost to a dizzying state, just know that you have spread your seeds far and wide because you are so gifted at dropping in and being present with loved ones, with individuals, with other souls you meet in the darkness. You are so skilled at that. You are such profound navigators in darkness and density that it hasn't just been all up to you. You have to know, and I'm hearing Maya Angelou in my ear, that your legacy is every life you've touched. So it's not all up to you. It's not just about you spreading your seeds one by one. Your seeds have been spread by all of these infinite number of lives that you've touched. You don't know. It's out of your grasp. Oh, I'm getting emotional because this is a lot, because I just know I know intimately how profound the Piscean journey is. Let's honor that the Piscean sign, the Pisces, are the end of the zodiac, right? So there's I don't know what to call it, a story, a mythology, that to incarnate here as a Pisces in this lifetime means that you have actually gone around the whole wheel. You have inhabited and embodied every other sign. This is why Pisceans are known, associated with the feet. This is why, when you think of feet, it's the feet that grounds the entire body, right? It's the feet that affect every other, part of the body. It creates stability. It creates that oneness, right? That oneness that every other sign can touch. So Pisces, you are the oneness sign. You are the creature connected to the all, to the I am. You are here to be this sacred conduit, this empty vessel for this oneness to flow through you and ground on the planet. So if you think that it has been all up to you, it's understandable that you have felt maybe lonely or hopeless or helpless to affect change, or sorry, I just got a really big message here regarding our overall messages. Some of you have felt to your core that you have been working to preserve this thing of oneness, this thing of the sacred, of honoring these death and rebirth cycles. And you may have felt at times that you have been doing it to your own detriment. You have been giving more than you have to give. You've been emptying your reserves. You've been running on empty. And this can feel incredibly, the phrase burnout, right? It's not a sustainable way. And something that the Pisceans have had to learn is how do you live a life of oneness and yet still honor, how do you live a life of the infinite and still honor your finite vessel? Does that make sense? There's something here about that. And we, as Pisces, we're being called to this higher awareness, to zoom out and to realize it's not all in our control, right? We don't have to control it. There's actually nothing to fix here. It's our only mission is to just ground and embody this core frequency without putting ourselves in the position to take responsibility for it. We can honor our mission here. We can step into this divine love. We can ground in empathy and compassion and anchor these energies on the planet. However, when something is happening in front of you, it's really important, Pisces, to not, to catch yourself and to not let it all be on your shoulders, to not pick up a mantle that is not yours. You can ground, you can be there for people in hard times, but to have enough self-love and self-respect to honor your boundaries, to create boundaries. This is one of the most difficult things for Pisces, is to understand, how can I be one with the whole planet and still maintain my autonomy? How can I hold the world's suffering without being consumed by it? I need to ground a little bit. I'm laughing because it is a Pisces reading and we are known for struggling with our grounding, right? Why would we ground? We're fish, right? We're fish and we swim in the depths of the ocean. So there's no ground in sight, right? So I think our world sometimes can feel a little topsy-turvy because we don't have Mother Earth. We have, no, that's the wrong way to say that, because even the ocean and the depths is Mother Earth. But there's something about the actual earth. When you think about roots, right? In order for a flower to sprout or a plant to grow, their roots have to reach down. And Pisceans are those kind of the one exception to the rule where our roots go in all directions. And so thus our fruit, our plants, our vegetables, our growth goes in all directions. And this is another wonderful cyclical point here, is that because our growth grows in all direction, it can be very hard to okay, now I'm getting why this was here. I'm going to leave this here. This was in the unconscious position, this perception. It's all coming together. Because we grow in all directions, it's not a linear thing. And because it's not a linear thing, it's harder to measure. And so, dear Pisces, if you have been feeling like you haven't been getting very far in life, if you have been feeling that, you're not where your peers are, or your counterparts, or your family, or other people in life, if you feel that you're just not up to snuff, you're just not figuring out this humanity thing, this life thing, understand that while other people's growth cycles may look linear, yours are going in all directions and cannot be measured. Thus, your growth is it's almost like you can't even possibly begin to measure your progress, your growth, your achievements, because they go in all directions. I know I keep harping on this, but does that make sense? I feel like it's really important for this reading, Pisces, that you understand you have to throw out the measuring stick. Throw out the ruler. You cannot compare yourself to people that are not swimming your journey, right? You have a completely different path here. And listen, let's bring it back to what I said earlier. As a Piscean, you have walked all of those paths prior. So why are you trying to go back and walk them again, right? So don't compare yourself to others, because more often than not, you've actually already been there. You've already achieved that, right? It's no longer, They're bringing back the analogy of the penthouse. You've heard this. This isn't mine. I stole this from Carolyn Mace, who's my favorite all-time spiritual mentor. This journey called consciousness is like an apartment building, right? You might start out on the first floor, and when you move in, you look outside your window and you have a first floor view. Well, the people in the penthouse understand and know your view because they come in on the first floor. However, you might not know the view that the people in the penthouse, or on the 7th floor, or the 8th, or the 21st, or whatever it is. So with each level of this ascension process, with each level of this apartment building, you gain access to a different perception here. So do not chastise yourself. Do not chastise others. Do not compare yourself or compare others. And do not use your precious life force in trying to convince people of what you're viewing on the penthouse level, or on the pick a floor higher than the ground floor, right? So, sorry, there's just so many visuals coming in, and I'm literally dizzy right now. I kind of want to sit, but let's just take this slow. It's so important that as you start walking your path, or knowing you've been walking this path your whole life, right? The Piscean thing, you've came into this world and you already have a whole hard drive downloaded into you of your soul's missions and purposes and all the skills you've gained in all these other lifetimes. And you've been working so hard at this, so diligently, Pisces, that it can always feel that you're never really getting anywhere because you are putting yourself in a difficult place. But let me tell you, that difficult place, when you consistently dare to meet yourself at the edge of your abilities. It's always going to be difficult. Understand and accept that now, because it says nothing about who you are and what you can or cannot do. It's not a criticism because something is difficult, right? You chose to be here. You chose to learn these lessons, to be in service to humanity, because you are the vault. The Piscean anchors the entire wheel. You are the vault of wisdom and secrets and gnosis and information and understanding and empathy. And you are the visionary because you've seen where we've been, right? You can't know where you want to go until you understand where we've been. And you are this divine vessel that is all encompassing, that holds the wisdom of all these other signs, of all these other paths. So you're really being, oh my God, I didn't even realize it, but I was holding my hands in this position as I was thinking. That's really interesting. They're telling me this. This is so funny. I'm really getting tongue-tied. Let me take a sip of something and chill out for a moment. I think I'm getting so tongue-tied because there's more, and this is such a Piscean thing, there's more passion and energy moving through me than my mouth will allow. There's so much. It's like trying to pump, a dam through a tiny little dammed up amount of water through a tiny little spigot. It's just not going to happen, right? They're hammering this through me to you to adjust your perception, or to at minimum understand that your perception that you've been pushed into the Okay. I was just interrupted with a clearer message. Oh dear Pisces. I think Pisces, I think you felt that you are so unconventional, that you don't belong, that no one understands you, that you're not up to snuff, that you're not able to, go toe to toe with humanity. And your perception of that has been that you are not enough, that there's something wrong with you. You need to fix this perception. You need to clean your lens that you look through yourself and the rest of the world. Understand that those are projections of this broken society. We are the ones, the Piscean sign anchors all, right? We anchor all of this. Do you hear how difficult this reading is for me? And I don't know if it's because I have a Pisces sun sign. I don't know if it's that, but it's so much energy barreling through, and they're trying to hammer this message that we need to correct our perceptions if we are to do the work we came here to do. This is now taking on a different message here. Pisces, your mission here on life is to preserve your core. Preserve your core frequency of oneness and what you're here to do. So this is you're being asked to now contend with what I like to call devil energies, or energies that pull you out of love. Anything to me, any devil energy is anything that attempts to pull you off center and out of love. If something tries to instill fear in you, or instill doubt, or not enoughness, or judgment, or criticism, these things pull us out of love. Your only job here, Pisces, is to, again, do the work of calling your spirit back to places it doesn't belong, calling your attention back, getting your energy in present time, in the here and now, and doing the work. You know how to do it. You've been doing it your whole lives. This isn't, this is such a funny thing that we contend with, Pisces. Like, So the actual mechanism of doing the work is not hard for you. Let's just honor that. You are brilliant. You are skilled in navigating and traversing consciousness. You came from the quantum field. You know you're going to return to the quantum field, and you know that your existence of and relationship with the quantum field is always apparent, right? Not everyone lives like that. I need you to know that's not an every person thing. And it can feel very isolating when you're moving through the world, hyper aware of, the all, the I am, and other people are not, right? It's very lonely. It's very isolating. It's frustrating as all hell because you don't understand why people aren't grasping these things, or why people don't just naturally want to do the right thing, because they might not have your empathy, right? They signed a different soul contract here. They might be in a different part of the journey. Okay. So again, your message, your work here is to preserve this core frequency. Anything else, Spirit, about that? So yeah, just to remind you, we started here with this happy ending in reverse, how just reminding you of the parts of self that maybe didn't believe that you would get this happy ending in this life. And then we move right along the next card to wishes will be granted. And I didn't tell you this, but what's in the unconscious position in this other deck is freedom. So by just letting go and surrendering the comparison, remember, you've heard me say this in so many readings if you've been watching my channel, perceptions are not reliable. Someone's perception is made up of all of the parts of self that were picked up along the way in this lifetime, right? They're made up of your childhood and your upbringing, and there's all these other factors that create to that build a certain kind of lens that only we are perceiving the world through. Part of this path of enlightenment, part of this individuation process of illumination is to step into that sovereignty and to step into that individuation, to quite literally become the sovereign individual of your life, to be able to see people clearly and have empathy for people and their actions without taking it personally, right? The word is perception, but really it should be false perception or illusory perception or something like that, because our perceptions are always just a little bit tainted here. So, and I'm not saying that all perceptions are incorrect. I'm just saying perceptions are almost like trying to remember a dream sometimes, right? To remember a dream, like maybe you remember like a couple scenes, but it's hard to kind of fill in the blank spaces. And sometimes our perceptions fill in those blank spaces, but they're not always with the correct information. It's like a puzzle piece that maybe it fits in the space, but it's actually not the right puzzle piece. So there's something here. Again, Pisces, make sure you're being curious about what you're perceiving, and not putting all this pressure to have this hard and fast concrete idea, but to allow yourself to be open and curious. We have a lot of spirals in this card, but there's a spiral at this figure's third eye. Allow yourself to oh, that's such a cute, sweet message I'm getting. Imagine it as if there was a revolving door at your third eye. It's wonderful to let things in, but you also get to let things out. So you can entertain things, but the message here is make sure you're not attaching to any certain one belief, one idea. Because here's the thing, Pisces, you are the oneness creature, right? You are the I am. You are flowing in Christ consciousness, in oneness all of the time. So your perceptions are going to be fluid because you can empathize with anyone, right? That's the Piscean gift, that you can empathize with everyone, right? So you can find love. You could return to that understanding, that compassion, that empathy to quite literally everyone. Whew. Okay, hold on. I'm apprehensive. I feel like Spirit wants me to say something about this, but it's always... Okay, so let me start from a more platonic perspective. I don't know if some of you have been in meditation or have ever walked that journey of learning how to meditate and really surrendering to that. Now, one of the very popular common ideas that you hear about meditation, it says if you can't meditate in a boiler room, you can't meditate. Now, what does that mean? That means it shouldn't matter what environment you're in. Carolyn Myss famously said, she asked her students, do you need a quiet room to meditate? Do you need a beautiful scenery and lovely music to meditate? And they said yes. And she said, well, then you're not doing the meditating. The room is, or the music is, or, it's like, do you put all of your eggs in the basket of letting your environment dictate your inner state? Or is the point of meditation to take accountability for your inner state so that no matter what's going on the outside, you can control your inside, right? That's the whole point of meditation. And so another kind of flavor of this that I'm going to now parallel to Pisces is, because of our oneness task, we're tasked with oneness. We feel everything. We feel, we are masters at empathy and compassion. Very early on in your journey, most Piscean journeys is this crisis of empathy. It's that thing where you could literally empathize with the most cruel, narcissistic, abusive, psychopathic individual, right? You could hear of a serial killer and someone finding out about this serial killer and what they've done. And if you understand their background and maybe their trauma and all these things, you can eventually get to a point where you understand why maybe their brain broke in some capacity or something in them was fragmented and they now acted this wild way out in the world by causing a lot of harm. You might not enable or support their actions, which most of us would not, right? But you could understand how they got there. Now, something that I'm avoiding saying that keeps knocking on my intuitive door is I was at a retreat one time and I had a teacher, one of the facilitators was a rabbi, and he actually started talking about the positive qualities of Hitler and Mussolini. And of course, everyone in the room, it was a hard pill to swallow, right? Because how much of your day-to-day life do you spend, having empathy for Hitler? It's not a common thing, right? And to hear this rabbi bringing up this example was so even more profound in that moment. But, he was talking about his really positive qualities. Hitler was a very smart man. He was a brilliant speaker, right? How do you influence that many people and get them to do, whatever. The whole point, the whole, punchline of this rabbi's story was he ended up saying, we need people like Hitler and Mussolini, but who are fighting for peace. And it was such a lovely parallel to me of yes, sometimes we other ourselves so far away from who we deem as monsters in this society. But the Piscean thing is the oneness, right? We understand that these people are another version of us, and that is a hard pill to swallow. And so then our work as Pisceans is to learn how to expand our hearts big enough, our internal capacity great enough that we can hold love for all versions of self, right? There is no other. A rising tide lifts all ships. This is the oneness thing. I had a really hard time talking about that. I don't know if it sounded like it, but I I actually didn't want to bring that energy in, because there's something here again about adjusting and detaching from our perceptions to gain more control, to gain more sovereignty over the power that we exert with this love. It's very easy for people to see, for society to see very sensitive beings and empaths as victims, right? Oh, they're so loving. They give away their power. They have no boundaries. Let's take advantage of them. Blah, blah, blah. That's like, that's a Piscean origin story, right? That's the early stages of, being so open to this broken and shattered world that we feel it all and it just rips us open. But in all of that ripping comes self-worth, self-love, learning about boundaries, understanding that we don't have to bend over backwards. We don't have to, let me say it this way, we don't have to be in service at the expense of ourselves. Right? Because we learned the hard way that is not sustainable. You've heard me say this, but this is like, for the Piscean energy, it's one of the hardest lessons to learn. Okay, Spirit, where do we want to go? Let's get some, one of these Ascension cards. All right, anything else for Pisces? Anything else for Pisces? This was a lot. I don't even know if it all made sense, but I feel exhausted right now, and I understand why. It's very Pisceans tread very intense waters, and so anything we do is sort of kind of has that density, because we're holding so much. We're literally holding all of it. Okay, we have solar light upgrade, solar plexus, inner fire, willpower. Yes, okay. Perfectly in alignment with what I've been talking about. Your solar plexus, right? And look at all the yellow here, right? Your solar, and also look at all that solar plexus on fire. Your solar plexus is the way you feel about yourself, your self-esteem, your self-confidence, your ability to love yourself enough to set these certain boundaries. Allow your passion. Your passion is sacred, Pisces. Your passion is what funds your investments, right? It fuels your mission, your purpose. If you're angry about something, beautiful, use it. Use it in a creative way. Don't use it to shame yourself or others, but actually invest in allow that inner fire to move the needle forward in some capacity. And then we have Pleiadian activation, coming together, harmony in the heavens, resolution. Pisces, you are the bridge between 5D and 3D. You are the bridge between the realm of spirit and the realm of matter. And so it's understandable that you've been mighty uncomfortable on this planet, because you're bringing down energies that don't make sense to the rest of the world. Of course they don't make sense. Of course this is difficult. It's ordinary. This is a very ordinary experience, even though you might be all alone in your little part of the world doing this work diligently, not understanding your role in the greater purpose here. You are the bridge, and it can get very difficult to make your home on that bridge, to essentially live life having one foot in two worlds and constantly, being going from the infinite to the finite and back again. And what does that mean? And how can I move sustainably? And how can I love without abandoning myself? And how can I move in oneness while also honoring my finiteness, our not enoughness, our the parts of self that are both God and not God simultaneously. And then we also have I am presence, light body activation, accessing the divine within. It's really funny. I just noticed that the way I'm doing this reading, I'm approaching it in a way, the way I'm teaching, the way I'm talking, I'm speaking as if you all already know all of this. And I think that's appropriate, because you do. This isn't like, oh, hey, Pisces, this is what's on the horizon. No. This is like, hey, wake up, remember, Remember why you're here. Remember who you are and where you came from and what you came here to do. It's very clear in that way. It's very interesting. Okay, in the unconscious position, we have the Merkaba activation, transcendence, ascension, you are rising up. Remember, it's in the unconscious position. For me, that's the card on the bottom of the deck. It means, okay, what are you, it's the thing that's being pushed into the shadow, or it's the thing that is just lying outside of our consciousness. It's the thing that we don't yet know yet. So let's honor both sides of that coin. So one side is that you're unaware that actually all of this hardship and all of this adversity is moving you in a position, getting you into position to ascend, to rise up and step into the light attribute of this painful, shadowy thing that you've been dealing with your whole life, right? That's one side of the coin, that your ascension is happening. The gates are opening and you are moving to the next echelon, the next layer of your of yourself. Now, the other side of that coin is that you know that you are called to something higher and you're pushing it away. Okay, that's a tough thing. Let's just honor. It's a tough thing because here's the thing. When you have this profound mission, the universe is going to put you in circumstances and situations for you to tackle more obstacles than most people, right? The bigger your mission, the greater your adversity is. And I hate to be the one to share that with you, but it's just a known thing on the spiritual path, right? The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. So the more you want that treasure, the harder the thing is the harder the adversity is going to be, because it's like dangling your dream carrot in front of you so that you will go after the difficult thing to get this profound thing that you desire. Now, I don't know what that is for you. It might be love. It might be a divine relationship. It might be a divine career, mission, and purpose. It might be like saving the planet, or like an external mission such as that. It might be, seeding consciousness with this like beautiful idea for the next generation. No one can name that. Only you can name what your soul mission and purpose is here. But I just had to name that to make sure, basically, like, call yourself out. Call yourself out if you are not answering the call and you're pushing it away, you're avoiding it. How many people do I meet? How many people do I talk to that say, I just feel like I'm not living my soul's mission and purpose. I feel like I'm meant for greater things. The only way out is through. And I wish I could say there's some like secret shortcut. I wish I could say, oh, here's the life hack. Here's the spiritual hack. Here is the trap door to get you there sooner. But time doesn't exist in the quantum field. There's no time. There's no chronological time. It's all happening at the same time. So there's no, like, time is like a human thing, right? Time is the human thing that we project onto our lives, because if things happen at the speed of possibility, then that's too scary, right? We implement speed to slow things down because of our fear of jumping off the cliff and surrendering to this next part of the mission. But really, when you understand how the quantum field works, the quantum field is instant. Like, if you're ready, the thing will show up. So if the thing's not showing up, you're not ready. And so if you're not ready, quote unquote, not ready, right? If you're not ready, then you have different work to do. So again, call your energy back into present time and be radically present with the work that's showing up right in front of you, Pisces. Okay, I got to get one of these question cards because I just have a feeling we are getting two. Let's see, what do they say? We have Sisterhood of the Rose, Beauty and Devotion, Priestess, Mystic, Teacher. And then I laugh because we have priestess. How are you being called to step up and lead? I just had a feeling. I just knew it. You know, this entire reading for Pisceans, like, you're not novices. You are, experts. You are teetering in every moment on the edge of mastery. And what's a really fascinating thought, and I've never had this thought until this moment. So, Pisces, again, we're the oneness thing. What's really interesting about the oneness thing is that you are not other ever, right? You are not other. So if you are working towards mastery, you are not other than one who is masterful. You are both God and not God. Do you see how this oneness thing is pretty wild when you start to really lean into it? You are both the one who has not stepped into their soul mission, and you are one who is living their soul mission, a soul-centered life. It's like we are the great contrarians of the zodiac. We hold all of it. So we hold the thing and the contradiction of the thing, and we're kind of doing this all the time. We could feel how the student and the master feel. We understand what it takes to get there. We understand where both of those individuals are at the same time. We understand living at a high altitude and living in the trenches. Like, we are constantly holding polarities. We are the embodiment of the alchemical union of opposites because of the oneness puzzle piece that we happen to have. And to live like that, to filter life through your vessel in a way that is constantly holding this union of opposites wherever you go, it's painful. It's painful because, and this is a Carolyn Mace idea that always brings me comfort. She says, she loves mysticism, and she's talking about what most people think when they see mystics who are suffering. They think that, God is making them suffer and they're slashing them, and God says, suffer, suffer, suffer. She goes, no, that's not it. The mystic suffers because they live at such a profound altitude of consciousness that they can see where the world could be, where the world maybe even should be, and where they're not. And that's why it's so painful. We have so much empathy, love, compassion, vision for what the planet could look like if we all just could be one and to love one another. Oh, I'm getting emotional because it's painful. It's painful that people don't have access to these choices within themselves. We've done it. We've walked those paths. We're here now. We feel it all. And what breaks my heart is a lot of the rest of the world usually highly criticizes Pisceans because to the outside world, to the untrained eye, they look reckless, right? We look reckless. We're having all the emotions. We are highly intuitive, usually psychic in some capacity, which scares people, which they don't understand how we can perceive the things that we can do. But more than that, it's like they don't understand how we can weave all of these threads together that make no sense and make sense of it, right? That's our superpower. That's the gift, Pisces. That's your gift. So keep your perceptions in check. Keep your perceptions in check. Don't let your mind or your fears run amok. You are being called to become so solid within your truth that nothing externally can rattle you and pull you off your center and pull you off course. I laugh because I wasn't going to look, but I just had to look in the unconscious position. We have soul family. It says, call in your tribe. You don't have to do it alone. Now, one of the great struggles of Pisceans is that they think, we suffer a lot, and this pain and suffering naturally isolates us, right? We see how the rest of the world doesn't have pain and suffering. Why are we having pain and suffering? I don't know anyone like me. Maybe you're the only one of you that you've known in your neighborhood or your community or your state or your country. Maybe nobody's talking or thinking about the things that you think about, the things that you want to talk about. That whole process is incredibly isolating. But you are being called to yank this idea that you have to do it alone out of the shadows and into the light. Because in your deepest truth, you are one with all of creation. So by default, you are not doing this alone. You are never doing this work alone, Pisces. Big reading, big reading. Interesting how it slowly started to escalate there. I mean, we got to the pinnacle. It makes sense. All right, let's get some self-care cards. We have aromatherapy. We have health checkup in reverse. And then we have reading in reverse. What's in the unconscious? We have look for fairies. Oh, excuse me. I just had a weird... That was so weird. Did you hear that? It was like, it felt like a hiccup, but it was just a weird... My throat closed. And it happened right when I said look for the fairies in the unconscious position. Pisces, when's the last time you've connected with spirit? When's the last time you have worked on your connection to source? This is like a non-negotiable, Pisces. You need to connect with source. You need to... Okay. I'm getting so many messages and this reading's already over 45 minutes. I'm trying to... Okay, so part of your work, Pisces, you need to connect with holy words. Now, I cannot tell you what holy is to you. Only you can tell what holy is by how it lands in your body, right? It's like hitting a pitchfork and having that beautiful resonating note or sound come out. Only you can know what that holy words are for you. Maybe it's something like holy text, like scripture or the Bible or the Bhagavad Gita or the Quran, or maybe it's poetry, maybe it's music, maybe it's artwork. No one can tell you what that is for you, but you are being called home because you need to remember who and what you are, why you came here, and what you came here to do. We also have health checkup in reverse. So yeah, the most obvious is, are you taking care of your health? I think Pisceans are known to get lost in our dreamlike imaginary depths, and we're very comfortable there. And it's really easy to get so lost in the 5D realm of spirit that we aren't always so diligent at taking care of our 3D matter world of matter. So how is your body? How is your apartment? Are your sheets clean? Have you done laundry lately? Is your fridge, do you have healthy food in the fridge? Have you been moving your body? Do you need to go to some sort of healer, naturopath, whatever your mode of healing is? Anything else about that, Spirit? No. And then we have this aromatherapy card. You know, it's just, I think the Piscean energy is very loud because of the oneness thing. And so sometimes we have to learn to dial down all of the noise of the quantum field around us that's constantly communicating with us. And now that could be energetically. Some of you might actually hear things or see things. You know, there's a whole range of all these diverse gifts that can come with this oneness piece. So maybe aromatherapy would help you kind of dial down the noise a little bit. I'm obsessed with the smell of orange. I have many different essential orange oils, and they really ground me. So that might be a little treat for someone. I just want to get a couple more cards. Is there any other self-care ideas for Pisces? How would they benefit? What would they benefit from knowing? What do they need to be invited towards? What would be good reminders? This is way too many. Please be clear, Spirit. Please be clear. Whew. This one knocked me out, this reading. I'm laughing because I just said this one knocked me out. We have this image of a fighter, build strength, and we have music. Yet nothing grounds the body, mind, spirit faster than music, right? It's replacing the frequency that's already within us with something different. So be very mindful around the type of music you listen to. Make sure it's uplifting. Make sure the words, if there are words or lyrics, make sure they're positive, they're expansive. Make sure they're not something contracting and dark and nasty or something like that. Be very mindful around the music you listen to. And then, yeah, build strength. So maybe it's building physical strength because we talked about the health checkup earlier. But listen, Pisces, you need to build energetic, physical, mental, emotional strength. This is your work, right? You've mastered all the other skills. You've mastered skills that most people spend lifetimes working on. You've been there, done that. What you're called, hold on. What you're being called to now in this lifetime is to be the vessel, to be a sustainable vessel that can hold it all. You have all of this wisdom from all these different go-arounds, right? You've achieved and attained so much in your many lifetimes. Now you're being asked, can you be a diligent vessel to embody all of this wisdom? That is your work. So you're being called to build your endurance. Okay. And then I laugh because, no, I'm not even going to tell you guys about the unconscious. It's just, we already did that. Let's get some Buddha wisdom. Let's close it up. Whew, Pisces. All right, what would you like to share with the spirit? Give us a little Buddha wisdom. What do the Pisceans need to know? We have a bunch. I'm going to read them all. Why not? We have choose to leave the dark way for the way of light. Again, this is another call to a higher discernment, Pisces. We have why do what am I saying? Why do what you will regret and bring sorrow upon yourself? Do only what you do not regret and fill yourself with grace. This is another call to a higher discernment, Pisces. You're being asked to intervene in your own life when you are about to take a step towards something that isn't in full alignment. As long as you have unwavering faith, you are a truth seeker. Trust in oneness. You know it to be true, and yet you live a painful life because the rest of the world does not live in a way that you live. The rest of the world isn't perceiving what you're perceiving. You are being called to come into peace with that, to come into a greater equilibrium and receive and embody this truth. And then our final card, we have offend no one and yet speak truth. Be clear with and kind with your words, never harsh. Oh, Pisces, this also includes the way you speak to yourself. You know, that's probably, I think, one of the Piscean hardest lessons. Because of all this empathy that we have, we tend to be the harshest critics of ourselves. So again, do not offend your internal parts. Do not speak unkind words to self. Do not be hypercritical. Be clear with your intention and shine love and empathy on who and what you are. Yeah, I had to look. In the unconscious position, we have resist the temptation of pleasure and the desire to hurt. You are a free person. Now, it's very interesting that this is in the unconscious position because, the Pisceans already know this lesson, right? It's like literally do unto others as you would do for yourself, because there is no other. So what you do to other, you do to yourself. Pisceans were born with that lesson ingrained in our soul. It's very fascinating to me that it's in the unconscious. So that's being pushed into the shadow. Oh, I'm sorry. I understand now. I'm really focused on the last line of this. You are a free person. Listen, just because you have this profound mission and you are called to something higher doesn't mean you have to abandon self. doesn't mean you have to abandon your own human needs, right? This is talking about self-sacrifice. Do not self-sacrifice when it is not sustainable for you and your mission, right? Do not abandon, reject, or betray any parts of self to be in service for others. This is a really hard lesson that Pisceans usually have to learn the hard way, but I'm just going to say it over and over and over again, right? If your service does not extend to yourself, it is unsustainable. You will not be able to sustain this mission and this life in this way if you continue to move through the world in this way. So you must put on your mask first before you help others, right? Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Wow, wow, wow. Big reading. I'm exhausted. I need to go hydrate, and I hope you do the same. I hope this was supportive, and I will see you in the next one.